Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to be adding a new component in C++ that we can add to our actors to add in some functionality using some composition, essentially. Let's dive in and see how this is done. So I want to add a section of wall that disappears from view when we place an object on it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the content drawer and I'm going to search for the dungeon wall in here. And I think I want this one with a nice cut out section where I can stick a statuette. So I'm going to drag this into the scene and I'm going to rotate it by 180 degrees and try and position it accurately. There we go, brought it down to the floor level and it's looking okay. Now, what I want to do with this actor is I want to be able to add a component onto it that gives it the capability of moving itself. Now, we've dealt with components before. We've added ones already created by Unreal, but we've never made our own in C++. So that's what we're going to do in this lecture. So what we're going to do is go to this Add button, and you can see there is an option within here to create a new C++ component. Now, within here, there are a couple of options for different types of components that we can inherit from, so the different types of component we can build. There is an actor component, which is a component that just sits on an actor, any actor. And then there's a scene component, which is an actor component that also adds in a transform and the ability to attach to other scene components. We don't need this functionality, so we're just going to go for the actor component for now. We will be using scene components later on in the section, though. So let's go ahead and hit next. Now we've got to name our component, and we're going to call it simply the mover, and we'll go ahead and hit create class. And instantly it opens up in Visual Studio for me and Visual Studio Code. And I can see that there is a mover.h and a mover CPP, just like we had with our actors. Interesting to note that the prefix to this class is u. Previously with the actor, the prefix had been a. And the other thing to note is the name of the tick function is different. With a component, its function is called tick component instead. But otherwise it is the same. And if we go over to the C++ class, you can see that there is a tick component function in here. So I'd like to challenge you to log a message on tick. So you're going to add a new log message, add a component to an actor, add your new component to some actor and see if it prints the message that you have written. Pause the video and have a go. Okay, welcome back. So let's give this a stab. So in the tick component, we're going to type ulog to get the ulog macro to come up. We're leaving it as a display setting. And in here, I'm going to type in mover is ticking. Exclamation points, of course. Let's go back into Unreal. And actually what you can do is do a Control-Alt F11 from any place. Actually, you can do it in Visual Studio Code and it brings up the live coding window automatically. When it's completed, it brings you back over to the editor, just saves you an Alt tab. So what we can do now is you can see this actor does not have our new component on it. So let's go to the Add button and we're going to search for mover. And there you can see there is a custom component called mover. If I go ahead and add it, you can see it adds it to a separate section to the static mesh components and the other components up the top. That's because these components here, the ones that are attached to each other, are all the scene components, the ones that have transforms that can be attached, whereas the normal actor components, the more simple actor components, go in a separate section down at the bottom and they just go in a list. They don't get attached to each other. So we've got the mover down here, and at the moment it doesn't do very much. Let's bring up our output log and dock it to the layout. And let's go ahead and hit play in the game. And you can see that we are indeed getting mover is ticking displayed in our output log. Great stuff. We've created our first actor component in C++. I'll see you in the next lecture.